soon there'll be no pants for anyone.
Hey guys, I'm Kyborg and this is Hack Mode Fix Build. Today I'll be showing you how to fix a lifted fretboard. This guitar had newer strings, so I decided to keep them on there. But if you wanted, you could just skip this step and get some new strings. All I'm doing is taping the strings to the bridge, so when I take it off, it won't come loose. Place something under the neck that won't scratch it and slacken off the machine heads, but leave just enough for one turn on each. Remove the tremolo bridge by unscrewing the 4 mounting screws. Be careful not to slip and damage the guitar, and to unscrew the screws evenly. Move the bridge and the strings out of the way and start removing the truss rod cover. Remember to put all your bits in one container. Slacken off the truss rod with a suitable tool. An Allen key is used for this guitar. Other guitars use special wrenches that can be purchased at music stores or luthier suppliers. Carefully note the position of the tool and loosen it 1 full turn. You cannot attempt a neck repair without releasing the pressure from the truss rod. If possible, it's best to remove the truss rod. This break is partly along the glue line, so I have my father remove it with a small saw blade while I flex the neck to keep the crack open. If your crack is only in the timber, don't do this because it'll spoil your chances of keying the 2 bits together. Remember to blow out any particles from the crack so it fits back together. There are a number of suitable glues for this repair. I like to use a 2-pack marina grade epoxy. You can get this from boating shops. It has a long working time and good gap filling properties in case some of the splinters in the neck are missing. Long setting araldite would do and be a bit cheaper. Some people have allergic reactions to epoxy resins, so be careful and wear gloves. Vinegar followed by soap and water will help clean off your skin just in case. This glue mixes in a 2-to-1 portion. Follow the instructions for your glue, but ensure you don't get any of one part in the other part's container. Mix enough so you have plenty to work with when working it into the crack. Carefully flex the crack open and work the glue in. I'm holding the guitar in a wall-wrapped bench vise so it won't dint or scratch the guitar. With latex gloves on, run your finger along to force glue in. Keep flexing the gap open and releasing it. You have to get much of the internal surface covered as possible. Poking it with a suitable implement helps as well. But make sure you don't make any splinters. Here I am using an old set of feeler gauges. Keep working the glue in and take your time to get as much in as possible. Wipe off the excess glue with paper towel or rag and make sure to wipe under the nut. If you manage to remove the truss rod, you'll need to remove the glue from inside with a bit of rag and another rope. Remember you need to get it back in once the glue is dry. Wrap up the neck tightly with a few layers of cling wrap. Because this is only cracked halfway, I'll use tightly wound twine to apply the clamping pressure. If cracked right through, you want to use splints and clamps. I left this guitar in a warm spot for 24 hours before unwrapping it, but this would change depending on what glue you use. Using a utility knife blade to carefully remove the excess dried glue. For safety, keep 2 hands on the blade. Paring off excess glue with a chisel also works well. Quickly wipe the area around the repair with lacquer thinners or spirits to remove the oils and waxes. Now it's time to sand the surface smooth. You'll need a selection of different abrasive papers. You can get these at automotive accessory shops. For initial sanding, I'll start with 240 grade and end with 600. Dry rubbing paper is good, but I'm using wet and dry paper because it's more versatile. For this sanding, be sure to use a block. If you use your fingers, you'll go in and out of the dips. Use light flowing strokes. You are trying to only sand off the high spots. Only sand an area big enough to smooth off your repair. Go a bit wider with the 600 to help feather the new paint into the old. Use a good quality automotive paint masking tape to mask off the area to be painted. If needed, protect the surrounds from overspray. I'm using a gloss black automotive acrylic lacquer. Lacquer cuts back and polishes easier than enamel. Make sure the spray nozzle is adjusted to spray vertically and hold it about 150mm from the neck. Start your hand moving before you depress the nozzle. Make sure you don't overload the surface or it will run. If this happens, you have to let it dry and repeat the sanding process. Apply a number of light coats, allowing the paint to flash off between coats. On a warm day, this will take about 5 minutes with acrylic lacquer. I built up 5 layers, feathering towards the edge of the masked area. When the final coat has flashed off, remove the masking tape. If you pull it off hard back on itself rather than straight up, you'll get a cleaner edge. Fold a piece of very fine wet and dry abrasive paper. Dip it in water and carefully rub the new painted surface to remove imperfections such as orange peel. Here I very lightly use 800, 1000, 1500 and 2000, which is a bit of an overkill, feathering the finest into the old paint. If you sand through the new lacquer, repeat the spraying. Use an automotive cutting polishing compound on a damp cloth pad. Don't do the whole body of the guitar, as the repair is not as shiny as the original enamel. Use a soft dry cloth to buff the surface. Now place your bridge back on the guitar. Screws should be firm, but be careful not to strip them, and always remember to tighten them evenly. Locate the strings and the nut on the rollers at the bridge end. Some people like to place a dab of PVA glue under the nut. Keeping tension on the strings, take up the slack in them. Remove the tape. Connect the strings. Keep tension on the strings while tightening. Loosely tension all strings. Replace the truss rod and re-tighten it one full turn. Adjusting the truss rod is a whole new lesson I'll cover in another video. It is always only adjusted a couple of degrees at a time. Tighten strings to pitch. Place your truss rod cover back on and you're all done. Thanks for watching. If you've got any ideas for an episode or something you want looked at, leave a comment down below. And feel free to subscribe and check out my music on Beatport, SoundCloud and YouTube. And today's track was me and Tim Kellaway jamming and stuff.